a nice little.
Always
Gotta
hear
show
that.
the camera, and you're gonna go.
Gotta show that. You know that.
ASMR.
I'm like, I spend so much time watching those stuff. Like,
Do you have TikTok?
no,
Then where do you watch it?
Really?
YouTube.
like on Instagram.
Oh,
I try
okay.
to remove myself from TikTok.
Why?
It's just.
Wait, we mustn't.
Well, we're recording.
I mean,
Anyway,
yeah.
it all comes together with a Brooks
All
and a
comes together with a
Nurofen.
Brooks.
Cheers.
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 Cheers,
Thank you
guys.
for being
Thanks so
here.
much for having me.
Cheers,
Love
everybody.
to be here.
Cool.
Wonderful. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CAYACast. Today we are joined by Jared. We've got Gina. I'm Brad, and joining us today on the CAYACast is the incredible director, artist, writer, and what else? Well, you'll find out in this episode. Zenith. Thank you so much for being here and blessing us with your time and your energy and what you bring to this space, because you've only been here once so far, but it was an impactful visit, and I'm looking forward to this one and many more. Can you introduce yourself in, like, I say 5 sentences? I don't really care if it's 5 sentences, but so that people understand who you think you are.
Well, I'll first start off by saying that I know who I am. Not a thought. I'm known as fire director, but I'd like to go by ZK or officially Zenith. My friends call me Zenith, by the way, Brad. So you're my friend.
Thank
so
you.
you can call me by my government
you.
Well,
name.
what should we?
Z's,
See how the
Z's fine
podcast
for now.
goes.
Z's fine for now.
Until the
Okay.
end.
Understood.
Yeah, fire director. Came up with this name like, I think 4 years ago. I mean, I've had a dream to shoot movies my whole life as a little girl, you know. I just wanted to sing, dance, make art, bring life to the party, you know. I've always had this tenacity to just bring color through anything. It's what I'm known for as a little kid. But fire director came from the spiritual warfare that I kind of face being a director in my own capacity now. And fire symbolizes the burning bush in the Bible, or the Holy Spirit in God's presence. And it's so crazy because both in the dark aspect of the spiritual realm and the light, fire is both presented, whether you burning in hell or God's evolutionary fire. And I'm not even a fire sign or anything to do with that. I just thought, you know, I don't know anyone like me. I don't know anyone that has the skin color like me. I don't know anyone my age. So I'm definitely fighting a spiritual battle to become the first.
What do you mean by that? You don't know anyone like you, anyone with the same skin color?
I don't know anyone that I can call in my circle and say, hey,
Okay.
I'm having a challenge as a director facing this huge project. What do I do? Or, hey, you know, someone that's really well known in the industry, can you help me or guide me in some sense to take this on the proper way? I don't have anyone.
So you're saying you don't have, number one, a friend that you can call in the industry, and number two, a mentor that could have taught you?
Everything I know, I've learned by myself.
Yeah.
And yes, I have mentors in various different parts of my life, especially film, which I'm very grateful for. They brought me to understanding the gifts I have now, but they're all men. I don't know another woman. That's what I mean. I don't know another woman like me that's taking on this bold challenge to be a female film director in SA. I don't know, you know, and those that I do know are fighting their own challenges also. And it's similarly like it relates to the book I'm currently writing. I know you were going to ask me about it, so let me just bring it up in the forefront. It's called A Little Girl, Don't Forget to Dream. Because in some other way, I was that little girl, you know, in school, trying to find guidance and direction to fulfill my dreams, and I didn't have any. So I write all of my challenges and all of the techniques and literally the way I've manifested my life in my book for girls that are colored, women of color, all kinds of women actually. to read about and have a thought about life and be like, hey, I can dream a bigger dream, essentially, yeah. But we can go into it as we carry on.
Just a side question. I've always, like, I heard a lot of people saying, like, okay, cool, I'm going to write a book. But the actual process of it, how do you sit down and, like, backtrack through all these years of your life and say, cool, that's what I did wrong here, that's what I did right here, all the way back to, let's say, childhood now? How do you, like, put that together in one coherent...
You literally need to take out the most important parts. What was the lesson? What did you learn from it? Those two questions. Every single time a scenario played out or circumstance or even something great, something you should be thankful about. What was it that you had to learn? And, you know, how is it being placed in your life right now? That's from childhood up until now. It's just like life is a full circle if you actually think about it properly. I mean, people that I've met 3 years ago are only popping up in my life now. And like we're making some crazy money together. But I met them 3 years ago and I never knew where to place them. So life is a full circle. And I feel like we shouldn't be taking that for granted because like in some sort of energy, exchange, everything is either coming or going. Yeah. So being able to pick up the important parts of my whole life, that's how I wrote.
Okay.
Up until now, I'm like 193 pages, and I'm just like, what do I take out?
Nice.
You're doing
What's
this by
important?
yourself, like at home on your laptop or pen and paper?
Alone on my laptop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm going to completely change tacks for a bit, and then we're
Let's
going to
go,
come back
let's
to
go.
the book because I know you're going to read a little bit, which I'm very excited about. But let's keep things moving and
I'm actually loud
and
and like
happening.
hyper and like
Please feel free.
like,
Get as loud and hyper
raise
as
the
you need.
music and like let's go.
Please do. Let's get into it. You've had a crazy couple of years, frankly, by the look of things. But particularly, you just came back from Joburg. You were shooting a music video. I don't know how much you can talk about that publicly and what detail you can, what details you can and can't share. Contextualize that for us. And I know there have been some very interesting learnings about the creative industry and the music industry that I'm very excited to hear from you.
Right now, I'm going to go through maybe like a week in my life. And then I'm going to take you a week in my life when I was like 18, 19, starting at City Varsity. Okay, right now, a week in my life is hop on a plane, arrive in Joburg, Durban, wherever we're shooting. Literally go into my hotel, take out my laptop and read through 7 briefs. Okay, so this is how it's splattered everywhere. I'm signed to various different agencies all around the world. 100 Black Dolphin in Germany, Blacklist with David at Milk Films. And I've just literally started to merge with We Are the Blacksmith Collective with Diego and Marcus. Yeah. And I've literally looked up to these two guys like my whole entire career and like being placed, in an executive role on their forefront as like their film thing. Like I was like really honored. And then I really knew my powers and my gifts as a director and a creative. So as I'm landing in Joburg, I'm having 3,000 calls on the one side. I have no social life. I'm like it's just hectic, I'm like, I'm so bad with communication because I can't get to everyone right now. I have like, I don't know, artists from all over the world putting me as their close friends. And I'm like, okay, cool, bro. This is what you're doing, like, with your mom right now. Okay, cool. Like, this makes me feel closer to you. And, like, 3 months ago, I shot a music video for them. Like, for some odd reason that this it's spiritual. Everything that I'm doing as a creative and a director is spiritual. It speaks beyond the human eye. It's not shallow. And I don't feel that people that are shallow or not, no disgrace against that, but like if you're not deep within, you won't fuck with me. You won't get me. If you're not deep, like you haven't met yourself at a certain point in your life and you haven't faced darkness, like we probably won't, you need to really feel like what is it? What did it take me to get to that certain point? Anyway, going back, this is how my mind works actually. Sitting in my
The mind of the
room.
creative.
okay, now I'm finished with one treatment, send it through. David hits me up. Z, you know what? Listen, I don't know what you're doing writing these treatments, but your grammar, girl, let's just start there. Send me an edit page. I'm like, okay, go to backslide. Okay, you know. It's like, what else can you do here? I'm like, okay, I can embed some links. Let me do some coding. I'm like, okay, you know, all of these extra things that I'm able to like merge into film, which really works in my favor. And then I have a call coming in from Nigeria, and there's a director saying, hey Z, listen, how do I exchange Naira to rands? I'm just trying to shoot tomorrow. And I'm like,
You're like, dude, this is really not my
Yeah.
job.
Please call a bank.
like,
Please.
not even that, like, I don't know, bro, just decline. Okay, next. And then I'm sleeping, and then I'm waking up, and I'm like, okay, do I have time for yoga? Do I have time for the ocean? Do I have time to pray? You know, but that's currently in my life right now, which I'm actually grateful for. You know, it's chaotic in its own way, but it's sweet. Also, it's like this bittersweet.
It can definitely be both.
6 years ago, I was like sweeping film sets at Cape Town Film Studios, taking 2 trains to Somerset West, you know? Like, I know no one knew me. I'm like shooting my short films at city varsities and speaking to my HOD, like, where's the missing cables? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't cope, you know? Yeah.
So at
It's been
City Varsity,
hectic.
what did you actually study? What was your course?
I actually went to city varsity to be a makeup artist. And in my first 2 months,
Well,
someone was like, what's going on with this makeup? Da, 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 da. Like, you know, fix this makeup, retake. And I was like, who's that guy screaming? I want to be him.
Okay.
So I
okay.
switched.
Did you switch your degree?
The entire course, like, I was like, I want to do directing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you switched the degree
Yeah.
and then...
And I did so well that they like offered me some funding and, you know, compensated. I won body art. Can't remember what it was called back then, but we did special effects body art. Like
Okay.
building on these, like, I'll show you some photos. Pretty cool. Actually from there, I realized that we can merge color communication, art with directing. You can merge all of that because in some other way, as much as you're writing, visual language also counts, you know? And I interned with like Graviton, I interned with Universal Music Group, I interned with Sony after that, and I've been crazy.
That
Been
sounds
crazy.
incredible.
Quite the journey. Unless anyone else has a follow-up question, I'm going to pivot again so we can
Go for it.
keep things interesting and then we can come back onto things. You talk a lot about spirituality, and as you've said, it goes through everything that you do as a director. And I think we're in a very interesting time in human history in terms of how we relate to whatever spirituality as a very broad, you know, term, and yeah, how we relate to that other within ourselves and the world. What does spirituality mean to you? What does it look like to you? Because yeah, I mean, you've mentioned aspects of Christianity, but also things like talking about, you know, being a fire sign or not, and yoga, and these are all spiritual practices in different ways and different ways of relating to oneself and the other. So yeah, I wanted you to expand on that.
Okay. Spiritualism. Okay, everyone has a different sort of idea to it, but if you really study hard enough, you'll find that we all have the same understanding. And the only law in terms of spiritualism is love. It's the only answer is love. Let me take it back to like the very beginning. And I'm actually going to read a piece of my book because I feel like
Go
it just
for it.
ties in.
Wonderful.
I'm just going to
for it.
randomly choose.
Okay.
Allow me to explain energy to you because you won't find it on Google. What explains energy is this invisible white light everyone is born with. It is the orbiting glow surrounding the whole body, and we call it the aura. Through life, the more good you do, the more likely it is to shine. Like when you step into a place, everyone seems to look at you. They're intrigued. They want to know more about you. What is it about you? They can see this white light, and like when you practice your white light even further, like churches, worship, meditation, prayer, yoga, and any ocean activities, you have a healthy lifestyle. You eat the greens that you were supposed to eat as a kid. The light shines brighter and you can feel it across the globe. in either frequency or vibration. Now, in order to really gain life's treasures, you need to keep your energy clean. What we say, what we eat, what we see, what we read, and what we are exposed to. So to me, spiritualism is based on these factors: consciousness, intuition, honesty, love, willpower, creativity, sexual grounding, and it's all divided into separate forms called the energy feminine and the energy masculine. The male and the female, the yin and the yang, and the strong and stable like the mountains represent masculinity, and nurturing and empathetic like the ocean is feminine. So yeah, that's spiritualism to me.
That was a way more coherent answer than I was expecting. Sure, it looked like you had.
Yeah, no, I was about to say like a lot of that resonates with me, but I feel like it's so easy to forget to connect with yourself in that way, or like, yeah, just like with life being so crazy, I'm sure you can relate. Like, it's very easy to move through life unconsciously. And like all of those points are really great reminders. And just out of interest, are you vegetarian?
I'm not.
Okay.
But
it just interested me in the
yeah,
terms of
I'm
like what you put in your
slowly-
body thing.
I'm slowly trying to. I'm not perfect, you know.
No,
but
no
it
one is. Yeah, I'm also not vegetarian.
It's an everyday
Brad is,
process.
So I'm perfect.
Okay,
I'm joking.
okay.
I'm joking.
Being a
I'm
bit-
joking.
okay.
I'm not even a perfect vegetarian.
Okay.
Like, no.
But we try.
I'm the antithesis of believing in anything like perfect vegetarianism or anything like that. It's just not true. Just try. Like, try and make a slightly better decision that works for your body when you can.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what it comes down to. I wanted to pick up on your point because you do lead a crazy life. What the
Spider.
cook is that? Well, it was a spider.
Is it the one I saw yesterday?
No.
It's
It
brown.
was like a
Brown
baby.
spider.
spider.
No,
It's
I killed
gone.
it. I killed it.
I don't even see my hair.
I already killed it.
Okay, I'm trying to act normal here about that.
No, it's gone. As Gina said, and I think it's a really important point. It is really hard to move through life consciously at times, and you know we live in a world now where we're largely disconnected from any kind of religious or spiritual practice to a large degree, and life is crazy and it's high octane and it's stimulation all the time of every different kind in your face all the time. What would be your advice to people who are busy and are achieving at the level that you are, but also how to carve out time for yourself and for your spiritual side and for your own health? Because I mean, like, I know for me as well, it's sometimes it just feels impossible, and it's just like I'm working and I'm sleeping and I'm eating. Like, where do you think there's time? And this is actually advice for me. Actually, I literally just want advice. How do you carve out that balance?
I'm so grateful you actually asked, because there's so much stuff I want to tell you, but like I don't have enough time.
Just start and we'll
start.
see.
We'll do a part two. We'll do a part three. We'll figure it out.
There's an outward feeling and then there's an inward feeling. Always try and stay inward, I mean, for me, I'll take an example on set. I mean, I walk onto my own production and we're talking about the full thing, Ari Alexa, all the gigs and gadgets, and I have like people that's been in the industry for 20 years on my set, and I'm walking in and I'm like, hey, no, that must be the makeup artist. Or, hey, okay, no, set design. You set design. Okay, what's up? Good to see you, whatever. And then I come on and I was like, okay, everyone, is everyone ready? Starting to give direction. And the same people that greeted me literally look at me and they're like, oh, wait, whoa. And this feeling of like underestimation and like this energy of like, can she really do it? Like, what is her ideas even? Like, why, who appointed her? And all of that. I have to literally tell myself to be inward. I have to find the wholeness every time, because you can't help people find wholeness. They need to find it within, I have to like literally breathe and take the moment in my own self and literally think everything's white light and be like, I absorb from the source and I have a bigger role to play and I'm ready. And then I keep on, In the same aspect, I'm like, I have absolutely no time on my hands, but you know what? I have time for myself. I have time for inner work. I have time to be always inside and not outward. So always try and bring whatever's happening inward. That's the best advice I can give you.
Surely when people underestimate you like that, to a certain degree, doesn't it feel good? People think this of you, but actually you've done so much for yourself that you're in the position that you're in now. Surely that must feel good to a certain degree, don't you think?
I mean, that's where like
it's like proving
the
them
masculine
wrong.
and the feminine comes in. Like, you're a man,
Okay.
so you'll feel that drive. I'm a female. I'm feminine. I'm nurturing. I'm comforting. I want to hug. I want to feel vulnerable. So like,
So where do you think the problem is then?
I don't
Is
know.
it a
I feel like
status thing?
we should readdress the roles we're actually giving women. This equal, and let's readdress it. Actually, let's go back. You said we have women rights. What does that actually look like? You said I have rights. I am allowed to do certain things. Am I really allowed to do certain things? Am I really your equal? Like, I feel like we need to go way back into when it was even put into place and be like, yo, there's some gray areas here, and I'm going to feel it, and my daughters are going to feel it, and my daughter's daughters are going to feel it, So if I'm the first kind, the first one of myself, I want to put it into it now, So that feeling of like, hey, it's an ego boost that you don't believe in me.
You don't feel that?
You signed the paper for me to be here. There's $100,000 sitting on this job, As much as we emotional beings as women, let's get the job done, It's not supposed to drive me. In some way, maybe that's something I have to learn, and maybe that was a learning experience from you to me. That's why energy exchange is so important to me, Like, hey, Z, don't doubt yourself. Like, yes, feed whatever it needs to feed and move on in some sort of way. But I wish I can get to a place, a significant role as a director, where I can just be on set and be like, hi guys. And everyone's excited.
And everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone's like, no, she's about to blow up this place. Insurances are already sorted out. I mean, I have qualifications, special effects. So like, I kind of can burn whenever I want to,
I mean, I think amen to that. Fire director.
But like, do I burn it down, or do I put out fires, or do I burn it up? Do I add value, or do I take value away? So it's just this take and give all the time. And I wish I could feel like, hey, let me prove you wrong. And I hope in my journey of growing as a director, I do feel that ego. But I've literally tried to kill my ego every day. I try to love so deep that ego doesn't count in the way I speak, Like, maybe in the outward experience, like, that's why everyone that follows me and is a fan of me or is a support system, they don't get to see this. They see the colorful things, they see my Louis Vuitton earrings, they see all of these, and that's literally just outward. Come within.
Yeah.
Within is whole, within is nurturing, within is vulnerable. And in the vulnerability, there's power. There's power outside of ego boost. There's power outside of saying, I want to prove you wrong,
Yeah.
Get you. Yeah. That's a...
Sorry,
But
it has to be so deep, guys.
To go deep.
We want to go deep.
That's a lot to think about, because if I was in your position and like, let's, for example, instead of being a female, let's say I'm 21 years old and I walk into a set and then I was like, oh, surely you can't be this person, that person. If I was in that position of power and someone doubted me, that would feel good for myself thinking about it. I'd be like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
You not, you know what I mean?
Voila.
Yeah.
What's up?
And
I think, sorry, when it's like consistent though, you just get like tired of that doubt. So it's, yeah. Like if it happened a few times, you'd be like, I'm prove you wrong. Like this is who I am. But I understand, like, you just want to be recognized from the get-go. Like,
and yeah, it's like, I mean,
And maybe I'm sorry.
no, please go ahead. You're the guest.
Maybe I have like imposter syndrome in a certain way, and like people watch this and be
Brad's so
like, "See,
excited.
literally, why do you always downplay how much you do for us?" Every time, like, I'll probably someone just send me a DM right now watching this. Z, yo, you literally made me dream in my dream. You know, you paved the way since I was how old? Like, bro, you need to start giving yourself a whole lot more credit. And you know, I don't want that recognition. Nah, I just want the respect. Because I feel like being trusted is more than love. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me to do the job.
Yeah.
I can do the job. You know? Just put me on the forefront to like know that I can. The knowing that I can.
I really want to touch on the imposter syndrome.
That's why you get
thing.
excited.
Unless there's something else that you want to pick
It's
up
like
on
me
first.
literally unboxing my book without having to actually
Promise I haven't seen
read
it. I'm just feeding you I'm joking. I really haven't seen it.
I just wanted to know how old you are, if you don't mind sharing.
You're
don't have
welcome
to.
not. We can cut out that whole question if you don't want it.
just for us.
Okay, just for us. I was just
From me to
wondering.
you.
Bleep it. We'll give them a teaser and just bleep it out.
Imposter syndrome, I think, is, and in conversations that I'm lucky to have with so many incredible creatives, including yourself, where it comes up consistently that everyone who I look up to, like so many people who I look up to in the industry are also dealing with imposter syndrome, and then I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, and I think it's a thing that really affects the whole creative industry. So what I want to ask you is, if you had to be talking not to yourself, but to a 20-year-old you or a young woman who you relate to who is 5 years younger or whatever, what would you say to them to help them get over the imposter syndrome fear?
Me, I'm younger, I'm listening.
Talk to Gina.
Imposter syndrome, not a lot of people actually knows what that means. You want to explain?
I mean, I don't know if there's a dictionary definition.
Tell me, like, top of your head, what do you think it is?
For me, it's fundamentally it's a fear of being in a space and feeling like you don't deserve to be there.
Exactly. Okay. I don't even have to Google it. So, actually, not even just women, like even us here and everyone watching. I feel like something I'd tell everyone is that there's this way that society has nurtured us. Okay, and there's limits. They put a limit, they cap the limit to the way we are meant to be thinking. And it's actually higher. It's way higher than when, you know, the normal I or the normal, I'm speaking gibberish, I am. It's way higher consciously than what we think it actually is. Okay. Society has molded us to think a certain way, that we are incapable of achieving certain things, to keep us boxed in, to keep us just here. When damn well knowing that our dreams are out of that sphere of keeping us just here. And if I could tell my younger self or everyone in the room, it's that you need to literally get rid of those thoughts. Even for myself, bro, it's literally programmed. Because it's programmed since I was born. It's what society wants us to think. Lack, limit, you know. It's beyond the sky. We can actually manifest our dreams in different ways and actually achieve everything we want in this lifetime. But society, and I don't know if it's people, or I don't know how the world was created. It's literally to limit you of thinking outside of all of the things that you want. So in terms of negativity and this world being in a repetitive loop that we can't get out of, they want us to keep us there so that we fall behind. But the new earth has shifted. Christ consciousness is here. You can feel it. You can feel it in yourself. Maybe in ways that you don't actually want to. Like, what are you talking about? You sound crazy. Like, it's here. More and more of us are awakening. And imposter syndrome is just a way to keep us closed and limited. We need to think beyond and keep on encouraging ourselves. Like, I feel like before you gain a substantial amount of like a great support system or your fans or people that truly love you, you need to love yourself. You need to be your own hype man. You wake up in the morning and be like, yo, what is imposter syndrome? I don't know. You think you're gonna get to me today? I'm not gonna give you the time and place, kind of thing.
Sounds simple, but loving yourself, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Or at least for me, and I think a lot of people relate.
Yeah,
but it's
I
something
swear.
we should strive towards.
But just to conclude, it's literally to keep you limited to the things that you can do. Because there's no World War III. There's no one. There's toxic masculinity is taking its course. You know, feminine is coming out and playing a role more and more. But it literally all comes down to thinking beyond those negative thoughts. Because
Yeah.
it's just going to keep you back all the time.
It's thinking beyond the base programming, and I want to quickly whatever into a nugget of brilliance from Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you've read The Power of Now.
I have. It's
Eckhart
blue
Tolle.
book.
Yeah.
It's blue book.
Yeah.
Cover. Okay. Yeah.
One of the most incredible books, I think, for most people to read about consciousness. But he talks, and I'm gonna badly paraphrase, but it's he talks
Imposter
about-
syndrome.
Yeah, but
badly paraphrased.
Listen,
Go
I think
for it.
My,
Go. We're gonna
my
listen to
paraphrasing
you.
of Eckhart Tolle is probably not going to be as good as Eckhart Tolle. But maybe we'll see. Actually, let's back myself. Let's
Yeah, it is. Check it out.
He talks about the separation of your thoughts and you, and how your first reaction to something is how you've been programmed to think. And if you allow yourself to be ruled by your first reaction or your first thought to what's happening, you are living out your programming. Whereas, and as soon as you start thinking about it, and I would recommend people read the book because it's really succinctly explained, but there is very real separation. And if you think about it for a second, really, you realize that between you and your thoughts, they are very different things. Because if you take a second, you can observe your thoughts, and you can observe what trains come into your brain and how things work, and there's separation there, because and he refers to it as, is that what your soul is? Is your soul what's watching your brain? But I think it is really important, because on one hand, it is obviously a lot easier said than done than to just push away the thoughts that of self-doubt, because they seem so just they're there. What are you going to do? But you have the power to look at those and to change the narrative of what you're telling yourself.
Wow.
And I mean, you can look into neurolinguistic programming. There's all sorts of things, and there's science behind all of this that confirms it. And you can reprogram or alter what that programming is and how you look at yourself. Because I agree, especially in the creative industry, where it's an industry that has been limited so much by external factors and internal factors and whatever, where doubt is a natural part of the process, and it almost has to be. But we have to have the ability to fight against the intrusive thoughts of self-doubt that are there, exactly like you said, to just put you down and to stop you living up to your utmost potential. And it's an abundance mindset thing, which, I mean, you touched on as well. Is you've got to be able to think more and give yourself credit for more than what the programming has told you you're capable of.
Let me ask the room a question, even for you over there.
Yes, Tara.
Have you ever gotten past the self-doubt where it's really a sinking hole? Like, openly, you don't, tell me, have you ever like really found yourself not being able to progress from those kind of thoughts? those
Okay, so
self-doubt
not
thoughts?
moving beyond it, like
Yeah,
it becoming
like-
worse. I'll let Jared
I mean-
answer.
For me, at least, in terms of self-doubt, it's like a cycle. It goes up and down. Like, literally, one day I can wake up like, yeah, I'm pretty sick at what I do, and then the other day I wake up and I'm like, I don't know. So it's a never-ending like up and down thing, which I think on one side is healthy, because me thinking that I'm the best at something all the time is only going to lead to my downfall. So having some, like, being humble sometimes, like thinking like, I'm not the
Amazing.
best. I'm never going to be the best unless I get to that point. Like, there's always going to be someone I believe there's always going to be someone better than you. If I get to the top, someone eventually is going to go above me.
Amazing.
That's the way I think. So I think self-doubt is actually quite a healthy thing in my mind.
In manageable doses.
In
Yes,
I think,
yes,
yeah.
like that up and down.
See, now,
Right.
not everyone, you're going to go now, hey? But not everyone gets to think like you. Not everyone had the opportunities that you got, you know? I'm trying to readdress the kids that don't get to think like that. I've literally lost so many people to depression and suicide, and like that is the opposite of spiritualism. Because once you get into the dark ruts of things, and there's like, you pass the self-doubt where it's supposed to like move you in and propel you further to become the best, it's literally killing people. And like, I want to like shift consciousness through my work so that people get to think outside of that self-doubt programming, you know, it's worked for you. I mean, I don't know what school you went to, and I don't know what, but like, this kid's literally killing each other that we don't know about outside of this, you know. And if we even go further outside of that, and I mean, these kids look like us. It's just, they're not given the same opportunities, and that's the scope. I'm not just trying to touch underprivileged and, you know, destituted kids. I'm trying to touch beyond that. Kids that don't have schools. Beyond that, like Nigeria. The parts of Nigeria that have no roads. Beyond that, Ethiopia. Like, you know, like,
but
how do we do that as a collective?
Touching on that as well, like you said, some of them don't have the opportunity to think the same way I have. But like, if you think about like the job that you're doing now, the job that we are doing now, we are working hard. But let's say I had this quote, Elon Musk, right? He probably works super hard. He has the same amount of hours in the day as we do, but he's probably working the same, if not less, than the guy at the corner store that's running 3 corner stores across one block. You know what I mean? Probably working the same or less. So I think it's a problem of they are working hard. They're putting in the same input, just not getting the output that we are getting.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's where the problem comes in, the opportunity for them to realize that, because I mean, back in the day, like if you think people working in factories, right? The amount of hours you put in is the amount of pay you get. These days, like you could go and sit now and direct for 2 hours, and that could be the biggest, or 2 hours is underplaying it, but you know what I mean? That could be the biggest music video like for the year. Or you can go and sit for, let's say, 3 days, and that music video gets 10 views. You know what I mean? So the amount of the difference between input and output these days are much bigger. Therefore, people, again, self-doubt comes into play. There's a lot of difference in that. That's a lot more variable. And
it's like all the odds are against them.
That can lead to people, as you say, killing themselves because they think that is always going to be the output, when the output can be to both extremes. So yeah.
And I think the creative industry is, we live in a society that's been built, you know, societally we're largely still structured like the Industrial Revolution in the broader terms, right? In terms of how we value time and how we value people and how we value skills and all of these things. And in terms of our technology and our capacity, we've evolved far beyond that. But societally, we haven't caught up with all of those things, how we value the creative, how you value thinking. You know, there's so much societal value placed on, can you produce the same thing the same way every hour? And those are the people in professions that get paid consistently and, you know, there's a measurable standard for work, and it's, if you do this, you'll hit it. If you do this, you'll miss it. Whereas we live in a society now that's so much more complex, and especially in the creative industry where you're dealing with your art and your creative product, and there has to be heart that goes into that. And to then have that associated with your professional value, and like Jared said, it's not a thing where you're producing the same thing the same way every day. It's a completely different experience every time that You know, there's so many factors that go into it. And I think I think in the creative industry in particular, we need to be talking about how we value people. Yeah, how we make sure we value people properly and people feel valued as they should. And I mean, it's far from an easy conversation to have and an easy answer. But yeah, I think that's where like my line of questioning around the imposter syndrome comes from, because it does seem to me from the conversations that I've had that it's rampant, and everyone you look up to feels it. I also feel there's a somewhat encouraging aspect to that, in a way, for a young, when you're the young one.
Yeah.
Because you're going, sure, I don't feel like I belong. But if that person doesn't feel like, maybe you, and maybe that helps people deal with it a bit more, is going, well, and I think that's the importance of us having this conversation here, is that for someone who is 20 and thinking about becoming a director, but hasn't before seen someone in, you know, who they relate to in that position, seeing you here having this conversation and talking about how you have imposter syndrome, and they're going to go, how? You know, she's definitely there. And I think that having that conversation, and I know it's encouraged me, has been so helpful, because it helps you just go, okay, so that is just the negative thoughts, the intrusive thoughts coming to sabotage.
Yeah.
Because if they feel it, because from
We're
my
all
perspective,
human
it's
at the end of the day.
obviously
We're all
they
human.
belong there, you
Yeah.
know. And I think it's really that's the value of these conversations happening, and it's the strength in the vulnerability.
Okay, I just want to find out one thing.
Please.
Okay, if you are my people, so raise a hand. Okay, if you relate. Okay, you and me.
With
okay.
you.
Raise a hand if you question the status quo. Okay. Raise a hand if you're pushing the creative world forward.
No, we are.
Yeah,
Say it with your
Yeah,
chest. Say it with your chest,
yeah,
Jared.
with your chest. Raise a hand. I'm trying to find my people here. So I don't know. In this
This feels
process,
like a game where someone gets X'd.
Someone's getting voted off the
in the
island.
same way, I might just find like my lifetime, like my lifelong friends in the room, because Okay, wait. My last question. Raise a hand if you're at the right place at the right time. You know and feel that you're at the right place at the right time.
At certain times.
At right now.
Right now, yeah.
Ouch.
Okay.
Ouch, Jared.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm
Now,
interested in Jared's answer.
Okay, no. Jared, no, nothing against you. I appreciate it, but that's how I can tell, how I find people that I can, strive for and, unconditionally love and nurture and grow with, because I probably will see you soon. Everything counts. My thing is, I'm able to really touch on, why am I here? What significance do I play in this moment? How aligned am I, and how can I bring value to the room? That's how I move. In everything, when I wake up, I'm like, I don't do anything without intention. I have to do everything with intention. Whether it is manifesting my next car or how much, wealth I'm bringing home to my family. I literally do everything with intention. So meeting you guys and being here, I'm very grateful to share an intimate space and talk and be one.
And thank you for being here. I do want to actually, I'm very interested, because I know, I saw you think about it.
Yeah.
And I want to know what.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes, you can do a
do
battery
it.
swap.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to Jared saying he doesn't feel like he's at the how do
Right
you
place
phrase
at
it?
the right
Yeah.
time.
Aligned.
Yeah. And you
Aligned.
said I wanted
Jared's
to
like,
say,
no, you've changed the question.
yeah,
You've changed the
yeah.
comprehension question.
you said you might meet him in the future. Maybe when you meet him in the future, he'll be at a different place in his circle.
I want to know what you mean.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the thing. So you asked, do you feel like you're in the right place at the right time right now? Now, my rebuttal to that is, why do you feel like you're in the right place?
No, I want your answer first.
Because for me, there's nothing in this exact moment that makes me feel like, okay, cool. Like, I'm so glad I was right here sitting in this moment that would change the course of my life going forward. Do
Okay.
you understand?
Okay.
So,
See,
but
if you
normally-
change that,
Sorry?
if you change the way you're thinking right now, you can propel even further into your life. If you move with intention in every second of your being, in your awake, to being awake, to when you're asleep, you'll get further to your dreams than you think you can. I'm just letting you know.
No, I get you. But then by that logic,
Science.
does that mean wherever you go, you feel like you're in the right place?
You were brought there for a reason, you know?
Okay, interesting.
Literally.
Interesting.
I mean, like, I think my like interpretation of the question, and I think you're just answering from a different place as well, is
The fuck?
Yeah, there's something coming down.
it's a painting.
Oh.
Welcome to 111.
I love
Lord,
this.
I literally thought it was in like 9/11.
This is generally
Like-
you must know the heavy things we have
Yeah.
hoisted down this.
What's it
building
hanging
facade.
on? It's literally
It's a rope.
floating.
No, there's a rope
Oh,
behind
it's
the
just
window.
blocked.
Cheers.
I've been telling you.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Fine, fine.
Like, yeah,
Were you
I
thinking
think I get.
about it like less literal?
Yeah, I think I get where you're coming
Yeah.
from
Like,
because
don't get me wrong, like, I'm really enjoying this. I find you very interesting.
yeah,
It's just in this moment, there's nothing for me that is like life changing.
there's not like a light bulb
Yeah.
moment of.
But normally, like on other things, this like you would think in the future, like I get home tonight, and then you think about it, and you're like oh fuck, I'm so glad I was there and had the conversation. So then you think, okay, cool. Just so happens that I didn't have to finish that edit, and I was lucky enough to be on this podcast. Therefore, I was in the right place at the right time. If you think about it that way, then yes,
Okay.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
that's
there's-
kind of what I thought
yeah,
Amazing.
where you were answering from. So I think on that note, we're gonna have to wrap things up. But there's always an opportunity for the last
No.
question,
last
or,
question
or,
kind of
or
thing.
moment. Well,
Or actually, yeah, let's do a last question. What's your favorite set you've been on, directed on?
I'm allowed to say it.
you're allowed to say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me not do that one because I literally sounded India.
India, yeah.
For Netflix series. I wish I could. But so far, I have to say, yeah, I've loved every single set I've been on. I'm sorry, I don't have a favorite. I'm sorry.
It's valid.
It's just,
if that's how you feel.
it's like every single time I've learned something new, I've literally used it in every other aspect, whether it is framing to lighting to like, you know, gimbal shots to trippy frame rates. It's like shit, like, you know, I get to use the narration to my power from every single set. And the thing is, the more challenging my sets become, the easier it gets for the next one, you know. Every single time it just gets better. And the thing is, what makes you a true creative, I believe this solely with my whole heart, is improvisation. What can you do with the little you have? You know,
Constraints are
that big budget you're talking about, don't get married to your ideas. Jason Howes was my first mentor ever. And I think he's like writing a book, writing a series right now, but like he's off grid completely just to focus. And I honestly, I still take my hat off for that man because like the grit he has is the grit I only wish to have, you know? And he's like, Z, never get married to your ideas. You think it's pink, you come to the day it's purple. You think it's, you know, you come to the day you have no smoke machine, do something about it.
deal with it.
just buy 10 vapes.
Yeah. I was gonna
Just have a whole bunch of homies
Sisha!
choofing
They're like,
out
why
on
do
the
you have
stage.
Sisha on your seats? You know, when I'm skating with like
In case-
Afrobeat artists from
Yeah.
In case the
Nigeria
smoke
and they're
machine
like
isn't there.
dripping in their Gucci and I'm like, Hennessy? Okay, cool. You know, how do I keep you happy? That's cool. That's and it's just like, it's improvisation. It's like, what can I do more with the little I have?
Well, on that note, because I think that was a great wrap-up note, thank you so much for watching this episode of the CAYACast. Fire Director, thank you so much for being here and spending your time and energy with us.
Thank
I
you
really,
so
really
much for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Looking forward to the next one, and looking forward to various other things that will happen in the future, in the very near future. So keep an eye out for that. And whatever Netflix thing that it was
you may or may not have
NDA'd.
mentioned.
So make sure you go follow her on Instagram so that you can find out about whatever that was. And we look forward to seeing whatever else comes from your work.
Cool.
So
Jared,
thank
can I
you
talk
for
to you
your
after
time.
this?
Sure. And on that note, bye-bye.
Bye.